Oh, our MLB power rankings are out. The NL West holding down court. The Padres soaring to number 1 with the spot with the best record in baseball. The third place Dodgers. They're defying expectations, but not in necessarily the best way. And what happened with the Braves? One of the worst starts in Atlanta Braves history. Just the 12th time in Braves history that they started 4-11 or worse through 15 games. 6 of those cases, they happened all the way back when the Braves were in Boston. But we'll get to that team shortly. Jim Bowden and Matt Snyder joining us now. We're going to start with the Padres up 4 spots. Pretty tough stretch coming up for them, though. Matt, what gave you the confidence to put them in that top spot?
Well, this to me is the most fun time of the year to do the power rankings because I can start to react to what we've seen already instead of just, hey, what's this team's potential? What are they going to do based on what we see on paper? And then Jim gets to tell me that the Dodgers are better than a lot of the teams that I have ranked in front of them. So it's a win-win, really. The Padres, they have the best record in baseball. Fernando Tatis Jr. is playing like an MVP. Jackson Merrill not that far behind him. Manny Machado doing Manny Machado things. Michael King going out with a complete game yesterday looks outstanding. The Padres look great, but yeah, as you said, very tough upcoming schedule. The Cubs, then at Astros, and after that, they're at the Tigers. So a really tough next 10 days or so here. The good news for the Padres is Dylan Cease hasn't been very good. He should be better. Luis Arraez hasn't hit for average, and we know that he's eventually going to hit for average. So they do have some things that they can kind of hang their head on that in terms of like, hey, not everything has gone perfect for us, but I do expect a bit of a backslide. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the only week that they were number 1.
Yeah, they deserve to be number 1. They're 10-0 at home. They haven't lost a game at home, and their pitching staff has 6 shutouts already, and we're only on April 14th. Are you kidding me? And how about their closer, Robert Suarez, who, oh, by the way, has 7 saves without giving up a run? And the bullpen as a whole, the best in the league at 1.51. It's been incredible to watch. And I think the most underrated part of this Padres team that no one's going to talk about, but it's been their catcher, Martin Maldonado. Not because he does what he does with the bat, because he does very little with the bat. He's always under the Mendoza line. But the way he calls a game, the way he frames pitches, he has been a difference maker for this pitching staff without a doubt. And as Matt mentioned, Tatis, 4 homers and a 351 average. And how about the young kid, Jackson Merrill, gets the long-term contract. He's hitting 378 with 3 homers and leads the team with 10 RBIs, although right now he's on the IL with a hamstring injury. But the Padres, they're for real, and they're going to be a threat in this division. There's no doubt in my mind. And yes, they are a playoff team. Even if they don't catch the Dodgers, which they won't, they can still get a wild card, and they can run the table in October when you have guys like Michael King and Dylan Cease.
I love a good Maldonado shout out. Will was with him. My husband was with him back in his Milwaukee days. Just an incredible talent back there. All right, we're going to talk about Chicago, sitting at number 3 now. They have won the series over the Padres, the Dodgers, and the Rangers. Obviously, the Justin Steele loss is a big one, but the Cubs up 6 spots. Matt, walk us through it.
Yeah, the Steele one is tough. We'll see how they piece it together. For now, as we saw last night, Colin Ray maybe piggybacked by Brad Keller a little bit. Maybe they go out and they make a trade. Everybody's talking about Sandy Alcantara, and that would be great. But for now, I'm looking at the offense right now. The Cubs have the best run differential in baseball. I know we shouldn't necessarily use it in this small of a sample, especially when they won 16-0 over the Dodgers on Saturday. That swings things a little bit, but they can beat you in any which way offensively. They lead the majors in stolen bases. They're 4th in home runs. They're toward the top in sacrifice bunts and sac flies. They play great defense, and as Jenny, as you mentioned a little bit there, they have had a very tough schedule to this point. They played the Dodgers 5 times, the Diamondbacks 4 times. They won series over the Rangers and the Padres. They won 3 in Sacramento, which neither the Padres nor the Mets were able to do, and those are the top 2 teams I have right now. So the Cubs are really playing well through this tough early going schedule, and it lightens up a lot in May. We'll see how they replace Steele, though.
All right, the Cubs, you just mentioned them. Going over the Dodgers on Saturday, 16-0. It was the Dodgers' worst ever home shutout loss. The Cubs also got them yesterday, a 4-2 win. The Dodgers sliding down 6 spots. Jim, what's happening with them?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me start with, yes, the Dodgers should be power ranked 1 because they're the best team in baseball, and I'm sorry they're off to a slow start for their standards. But let's talk about why they are where they are, Jenny. It's a great question. They have one starter living up to expectations. That's Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's put up a 1.23 ERA with his 2 wins and a great performance against the Cubs on Friday. But their next best starter, Blake Snell, he's on the injured list with a shoulder injury. Tyler Glasnow has an ERA closer to 5 than 4. And, Tony Gonsolin's on the IL with the back. Shohei Ohtani we're probably not going to see till maybe June. And they're developing Roki Sasaki, who has 13 walks in 13 2/3 innings. Although in that blowout Saturday, he did go 5 innings and only gave up 1 run. But yeah, the starting pitching isn't what we thought it would be out of the get-go. And neither has the offense. Listen to this for a minute. This is interesting to me. Tommy Edman and Teoscar Hernandez have combined for 11 homers and 30 RBIs. 6 homers by Edman, 5 by Teo. Those 2 have outperformed the 3 future Hall of Famers, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani, who, by the way, only have 9 homers and 17 RBIs combined compared to the 11-30 that Edman and Teo have. Those are all statistics waiting to be corrected. They just haven't. And by the way, Ohtani hasn't homered in a week. I don't even know what to do with myself. Look, the Dodgers are that good. Let's talk again after 162 games, and I promise you when it's all said and done, yes, I promise you, Matt Snyder will have them where they belong at number 1.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, that team is just, I think we all agree with you. But here we are. A few weeks into the season, they are where they are. I want to ask about the Mariners next. Not only did they go 5-1, but those games were against the Astros and the Rangers. So, Matt, they are up 10 spots at number 11. Why is that?
Well, it's funny how quickly things can change this early in the season, right? They're sitting there 4-8. They look terrible. And all of a sudden they have that great week against the Astros and the Rangers. And now they're right in the thick of things in the American League West. That's just how quickly things can turn here. And that's if you look at the records there in the middle 10, that shows you how difficult it is for me to rank these teams right now because they're all basically the exact same. And I have to try to put it together like it's a puzzle. Look, the Mariners are getting it done, interestingly enough, with a very low batting average. But they're taking enough walks. They're stealing a lot of bases. They are hitting home runs. That's enough to get them some wins with as good as their pitching staff can be. And like I said, it was a big week for them with the Astros and the Rangers visiting Seattle. They got the job done. They're right back in the thick of the race where they wanted to be. So they deserve to move up a little bit.
All right. This one pains me a little bit. I got to ask about my Red Sox. They lost 5 of 6 to start last week, including 2 losses to the White Sox. There were rumors out there that there might have been a little bit of a curse from Dave O'Brien and my husband, Will Middlebrooks, after they had, a good homestand. It's been a little bit rough, Jim. They're down 7 spots. What's happening with my Sox?
Yeah, and the Red Sox are going to be fine, kind of like the Dodgers. A little bit of a hiccup here, but thank goodness they made the trade for Garrett Crochet, who was able to survive and win the game on Sunday, and that's what aces do. I picked Crochet to win the Cy Young this year in the American League, and he hasn't disappointed me with his 1.38 ERA. Had a no-hitter into the 8th inning yesterday. Great performance by him after dropping the first 2 to Chicago somehow. But look, the rotation, like the Dodgers, has been in disarray besides Crochet, right? I mean, you got Tanner Houck's ERA is almost 5. Walker Buehler's had a good start, but he's been inconsistent. His ERA is closer to 6 than 5. And where's Brian Bayo? Oh, he's on the injured list with a shoulder. Where's Cutter Crawford? Oh, he's on the injured list with a knee. Where's Richard Fitz? He went on the injured list this week with that strained pectoral, and Lucas Giolito is on there for the hamstring and not the elbow. And so, look, your starters aren't there. And then number 2, half of the lineup's not hitting. I don't know why they thought Rafael Devers would automatically be able to adjust to be a DH. He's got 1 home run. That's all he's got. You've got Duran, who has no homers, hitting .229. He was their all-star last year. He's a budding superstar. He's not hitting. Tristan Casas hitting 185 and can't catch a cold, let alone on baseball at first base. And although Cedar Rafaela made a catch in right center the other day that I've only seen Andrew Jones make, he's hitting .220 with no homers as well. And that's half your lineup. Boston's team is too good. They're going to turn things around. I do think this. I think a slow start is the best thing that could have happened to Boston. It humbles the team. And for the Red Sox fans out there that want to know, when is Roman Anthony coming up? I talked to Craig Breslow, their GM, yesterday, and he said to me, as soon as he's playing well enough we will find a spot for him on the roster. Even though the outfield has Abreu and Rafael and Duran, he said none of those players will block Anthony when he's ready. Good news for Sox fans.
That's great news for Sox fans. Give me a little bit of hope there. Thank you, Jim. I got to ask about the Braves next at 24. Some good news there. Spencer Strider is coming back this week. Ronald Acuna Jr. won't be too much further behind that. You still believe that they'll get hot, Matt, but how soon can we maybe see a little turnaround?
Pretty quickly, actually. Jim just said some humbling. How about starting 0-7 on the West Coast when you have to go to San Diego and Los Angeles? That was a tough assignment. Yeah, they shouldn't have gone 0-7, but 2-5 would have been a lot more reasonable. But, Matt Olson has been terrible to this point. Michael Harris needs to be a lot better. Ozzie Albies just started to hit a little bit over the weekend. They just got Sean Murphy back from injury. As you said, Jenny, Spencer Strider's coming back this week. Ronald Acuna Jr., it won't be long until he's back. They've played 10 games on the road and only 5 at home. They're 3-2 at home. And the schedule gets a lot lighter through the third week of May. You can see a lot of Nationals on there. You can see the Rockies on there. You can see the Pirates on there. I expect the Braves to start playing better baseball pretty quickly here, and they need to, because 4-11 is a really terrible start. We've seen them come back before after digging themselves in a hole. They were down 10.5 games going into June a couple of years ago, and they won that division. I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but I still think that this is a playoff team, and I still think that they're going to get things together here sooner rather than later.
So the message here. Oh, sorry, Jim. Go right ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because I agree with Matt. And look, like the Dodgers and the Red Sox, their starters aren't getting outs and their hitters aren't hitting, right? I mean, Chris Sale's ERA, the Cy Young Award winner, is closer to 7 than 6 right now. The only guy getting outs from their rotation is Spencer Schwellenbach, who has an ERA of 0.45. But Max Fried is getting people out for the Yankees. He left in free agency. Reynaldo Lopez has already had a shoulder operation. So, I mean, those were huge losses for them that they're trying to overcome. And then offensively, believe this or not, the truth is the White Sox and Pirates have scored more runs than the Braves. Like, that's not going to continue. At some point, Matt Olson's going to hit, and so is Ozzie Albies, and so is Austin Riley, and so is Michael Harris. And when Acuna comes back, there's going to be this. And the Braves will be just fine. They will make the playoffs. They're not winning the division. I have the Phillies winning the division. But I do think they have a chance to get that last wild card spot.
No time to panic for any of our teams. Jim Bode and Matt Snyder with the latest in baseball with our MLB Power Rankings. You guys are two of the best. Thanks for joining us. Taking a look at some notable games tonight. We've got the Nationals taking on the Pirates. Skeens is going to be on the mound, so a lot of eyes will be on that game. The Yanks playing the Royals at 7:05. Late night. The
Dodger fans, this might be huge. There's a name floating around the trade rumor mill that could completely change our outfield and maybe even the rest of our season. A player with all-star potential, elite defense, and a bat that, when it's hot, can carry an offense. But here's the kicker. The Dodgers would have to give up James Outman and a top prospect to make it happen. So, is it worth it? In today's video, we're breaking down the reported trade talks between the Dodgers and the Chicago White Sox, involving none other than Luis Robert Jr. Why would the Dodgers make a move for another outfielder when we've already got names like Teoscar Hernandez, Michael Conforto, Andy Paez, and even Mookie Betts who can slide back into the grass? What would a trade package look like? And should we, as Dodgers fans, pull the trigger on this? Smash that like if you love Dodgers baseball and leave your take in the comments, because this one is going to spark some serious debate. Let's dive in. Why would the Dodgers want Luis Robert Jr.? Let's start here. Why even go after Luis Robert Jr.? On paper, the Dodgers outfield doesn't look like an area of need. But once you dig deeper, things get complicated. Andy Paez, one of our most hyped young names this season, has struggled big time. As of Sunday, he had a .149 batting average and a .571 OPS. That's not just cold, it's Arctic. Meanwhile, Michael Conforto, the veteran pickup, is hitting just .200 with a .755 OPS. Respectable OPS, but when you combine it with the strikeouts and lack of timely hitting, it's not enough. Speaking of strikeouts, brace yourself. Andy Paez, 34.5% K rate. Michael Conforto, 31.5% K rate. That puts both guys in the bottom 5 to 10% of the league in terms of strikeout rate. And in a season where the NL West is way more competitive than anyone thought, with the Giants getting hot, the Padres looking strong, and the D-backs hanging around, the Dodgers can't afford to wait around and hope Paez or Conforto figure it out. Every year, it's World Series or bust. So maybe, just maybe, it's time to make a bold move. Strategy matters. Beat the Padres to the punch. Let's think beyond stats for a second. What if the Dodgers want to make this move before someone else does? Luis Robert Jr. would be a terrifying fit on the Padres. Imagine an outfield of Luis Robert, Jackson Merrill, and Fernando Tatis Jr. that's not just dangerous on offense, that's elite defense too. And the last thing we want to do is let our division rival make that kind of upgrade. So, part of this could be proactive strategy. Get in early, get your guy, and don't let your enemies load up first. The trade, outman plus a top prospect. Now let's talk about what this trade might actually look like. According to Bob Nightingale of USA Today, trade talks have already happened. The reported framework? James Outman plus a frontline prospect in exchange for Luis Robert Jr. So who's the prospect? Well, we don't need to give up a guy like Gendry Vargas, Josue De Paula, or even Alex Freeland. Based on baseball trade values, Luis Robert Jr. is currently valued at $16.1 million. Outman alone is worth $11.2 million. So we only need to bridge about $5 million in value. Enter Kellen Clark Lindsey, the Dodgers' number 8 prospect, valued at $6.7 million. That lines up almost perfectly. The total from the Dodgers side would be $17.9 million, slightly favoring the White Sox. So here's the deal. Dodgers get of Luis Robert Jr. White Sox get of James Outman. INF/ of Kellen Lindsey. Fair? Absolutely. But is it smart? Luis Robert's value going up or down? Here's the wrinkle, though. Luis Robert Jr. is not lighting the world on fire right now. He hasn't been nearly as productive this season, and while his strikeout rate isn't Conforto level bad, his bat hasn't woken up yet either. That might be why the White Sox are talking now. Maybe they're trying to move him before his value drops even more. From the Dodgers' perspective, you could argue it's better to wait it out. If Robert continues to slump, his value could dip enough that you only need to give up Outman straight up in July. And here's another factor, Luis Robert's contract. He's got a $20 million club option for 2026 and 2027. If he doesn't turn things around, the Dodgers might not even want to pick that up. So in a way, you're trading for a guy who might only be here for this season. A rental. Do you give up Outman and Lindsey for a rental? Who's winning this deal? It depends on what you believe. If you think Luis Robert Jr. just needs a change of scenery. If you think he's the kind of player who can thrive in LA, surrounded by Mookie, Freddie, Shohei, and the winning culture. If you think Chicago is just draining his energy and drive, then you probably do this deal. We've seen what Robert looks like when he's locked in. He hit 38 home runs in 2023, stole bases, played Gold Glove defense. He was a star. You put that guy in Dodger blue, and suddenly we're not just talking about October, we're talking about November parades. Final thoughts, Dodger fans, it's on you. So now it's your turn. Would you trade James Outman and Kellen Lindsey for a shot at Luis Robert Jr.? Or do you ride with Outman and see what he becomes? Do you wait and hope Robert's value keeps dropping? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from every single one of you on this. This deal could define our outfield and our season. Don't be surprised if we hear more about it in the coming weeks. If you made it this far, you're a real one. 100 Club, I see you. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's keep this community growing. Until next time, if it's low, let it go. And if it's high, you know what to do. Let it fly.